We really need to look at history to see who we are and where are we to go. Today, the Khoja Heritage Project has made a significant impact in the community because we have restarted discovering some of the sacrifices of our ancestors as they came onto the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam over a long journey of 700 years.
The Khoja Heritage Project, there are multiple items in it. We're trying to scan different books written in 1920s, early 19th century, later 19th century. So these books were not like, edited, or that they were not being published. It was just lying in our household collections. So Alhamdulillah, we're able to scan it. The other thing which WF Khoja Heritage Project was able to do was to conduct many interviews with our senior members of our community, which I would call oral history. We're able to document a lot as far as oral history is concerned. Khojapedia is an online encyclopedia. The whole idea emerged by my conversation with Murabbi Hassan Bhai Jafar when he wrote the book, The Endangered Species, a valuable book, a good history in 500 plus pages. But the complaint which was getting was like, the youth of the community or like the wider community is not reading as much it should be reading about the heritage and the identity is concerned. And the problem was not with the book, and the problem is not about the topic, the problem is not about the subject. The problem is about the time and the stress and the dynamics of our modern life. Essentially, not all of them would love to read and go through the book from the first page to the last page. So I came up with this this introduction. Why not to dissect the book and make it in an encyclopedia format where people would appreciate the great effort which Murabbi Hassan Bhai Jafar has taken. And I simply broadened the concept, mentioning anything to do with like Khoja heritage and identity is concerned. So I'm glad to inform like we have approximate 1,500 entries in it. To be honest, not all the entries are complete. Approx 250 entries are already completed. You would find introduction to that entries, but the other entries are still remaining. They are just entries and the content is still to be filled, and there is an appeal to the wider community to visit Khojapedia, add to the rich content which would serve to be a Wikipedia for the Khoja community.
The Khojapedia is one of the projects of the KHP. We have digitized over 60 manuscripts in Gujarati, and we have uploaded them for online access. And we can see from the hits that we get on that website in terms of the reinvigorated interest in Khoja history and heritage. Our foray into academia as Khoja Heritage Project was this Khoja Studies Conference at the EHSS in conjunction with the Florida International University. It was very important for us to be associated with the academia so that the papers that were presented receive due attention within academic circles. The conference was an inspiring one. When I looked at the participants, the 22 papers that were presented by scholars both from the Khoja Ismailia as well as the Khoja Ithna Sharia scholars, that I wondered that here we were celebrating our common heritage of almost 700 years from Satpant to Ismaili to Ithnashri, and yet it was only 150 years ago that we were battling theology with bitter battles going on between the two groups. So that was quite an important milestone.
we were able to collaborate with Florida International University and Bibliothèque of the South Asian Studies of Paris, and the WF. So all these three institutions came together with the unique idea of bringing all the scholars as far as Khoja history and Khoja heritage is concerned. So we basically introduced the concept with different themes, and we got like approx 30 good papers on this subject, and it alludes to the point how this topic is important for academics in academia. Out of that, like some of the papers which were of like good quality were selected to present, and we are looking for a publication out of that. The fundamental aim to introduce this concept of like Khoja Heritage Project Conference was to bring the global Khoja community, which is Khoja Sunni Khojas and Ismaili Khojas, where we discuss heavily on interfaith and intrafaith, to partnership with our Sunni brothers, with our Shia brothers. It's a time not to neglect with our Khoja brothers who are like Sunni Khojas and Ismaili Khojas.
I am Michel Boivin. I am a Director of Research at CNRS in Paris, Director elected of the Center for South Asian Studies, and I want to highlight the importance of developing the Khoja studies, because I'm convinced that through the Khoja studies we can build a very important object of knowledge, which is reference to the circulation of ideas, of knowledge, and of course of other goods, since the Khoja as well as other community from the western part of the Indian Ocean were mostly dominated by merchants. So it is a real opportunity I had to work on this topic, and I was asked to organize with others, of course, this conference in Paris in my center at the EHESS. It was a real honor, and so the conference was organized in December with many scholars from all the parts of the world, and it was also a real pleasure and honor to work with the World Federation
to develop and preserve the heritage of the Khoja community, to allow researchers access to materials to better understand the history of the Khoja, and to work with community leaders and sort of scholars within the community to preserve their own material and engage with scholars in telling the history, the story of the Khoja.